we are going to move through a short sequence, kind of getting into the hips and the lower back. Please take what you need throughout practice. So if you want to modify to suit your body, you are very welcome to. We're going to start lying down on the ground today, so finding your way there, down onto the ground, and that could be on your side, on your back. You could find constructive rest here, where we take the knees up to the sky, feet on the edges of the mat, and then knock the knees in together, or any other comfortable position here. So that might even be seated. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here down on the ground, arriving in our practice. So taking a moment to find what's comfortable for you. And then you might take palms up to the sky, or there's that option to take the hands onto the body somewhere. And if it feels comfortable to do so, you might close down the eyes or find something out ahead of you to look at. Taking a pause here. Maybe you draw your focus towards your breath. There's no need to do anything particular here. Noticing how it feels in your body today. Maybe you feel it more around your chest or belly or up around your face. And if it feels comfortable to do so and you enjoy breath practice, you're very welcome to slow the breath down here. So those slow inhales through the nose, exhales out through the mouth here. Seeing if you can find a rhythm that works for you. I'm going to spend around 10 breaths or so here, arriving in this space. During this time, you're very welcome to set yourself an intention for your practice today, whether there's something that you're working on or a feeling or anything else here. Maybe you take the next few rounds of breath with your intention in your mind, inviting it into the body with breath. Letting it sink down to the mat beneath you. I'm going to take 5 or so more breaths here in stillness. And then starting to bring movement into the body when you're ready. So if you want to stay still for longer, feel free to do so. Or perhaps starting to bring those small movements into the body. So wriggles through fingers and toes. Maybe your head turns side to side here. If you've got your knees up to the sky, you might slowly take them for sways side to side. And if your feet are long, maybe drawing those knees up and joining us in those side sways. Knees guiding left and right here. You can exaggerate this as well. Maybe you start to turn your head at the same time. Maybe there's even a little lift through the shoulders. And then starting to take more movements through the body here. So we can start taking circles or rotations through our wrists. So we can do the same with our ankles as well here. So maybe we take all of our limbs up to the sky, those little rolls around in one direction and the other. You can be really intuitive with this movement here. You might even stretch everything up to the sky and then come back down for a few more rolls. And then we're going to meet with our knees in at our chest here. So hands could land on the knees, or you can reach around and give yourself a big hug, a squeeze. Maybe a little rock side to side. Again, this could be big or small. knees together, or that intuitive kind of wriggle around on the ground here. You might notice how this feels in your lower back, so perhaps bringing focus there, and each time you kind of take a little roll, noticing how it changes or where it moves around your lower back. Maybe there's a spot that feels really good and you might want to pause there for a moment, and then coming back to your movement. And then from here, we're going to keep our right knee in close to the chest and extend our left leg long here. So option to take your foot long along the mat, or you can take your sole of the foot to the floor here. So deciding what you would like today. And then we're going to take both hands on our right knee and give it a big tight squeeze into the chest here, and holding for a couple of breaths. If it's available to you, you might even lift through your left foot so heel is slightly off the floor here. And then slowly relaxing your foot back on the floor, releasing a hold of the knee a little bit here so that grip loosens. We're going to keep our left hand on our right knee and then draw the knee across the body here. Right hand can stay over on the right side. Knee might not come all the way down, but perhaps you feel this around your glutes. You can have a little wriggle around. We're going to take a few breaths here, so finding a point that feels good. And then drawing the knee back to center. We're going to take the knee into our right hand and out to the side this time. Again, taking a few breaths here. And then 2 or 3 circles through the knee. So moving into the hip joint here. And then we're going to take that right leg long along the mat. Pausing before we come to the other side. And then when you're ready, drawing your left knee close to the body, giving it a good squeeze here, quite tight. And then that option is there to lift the right foot up again, taking a couple of breaths here. Lowering our right heel back down, releasing the grip slightly on our left knee, and then taking right hand onto the left knee this time. Left hand can come out to the side as we draw our knee across the body. Again, finding a spot that feels good to you, and then pausing when you get there. Taking a couple of breaths. And then knee comes back to center. Left hand takes hold of the knee as we take it out to the side this time. Taking a few breaths here again. And then those circles with the left knee. Any way you like. Eventually landing our left foot down to meet our right. Big breath in and out. And then when you're ready, let's draw knees back to chest, but taking legs up to the sky this time. Palms might stay on the earth here. Taking a few breaths in stillness or a little sway side to side. We're going to find our way through to seated here. So option 1, to take those hands behind the knees and then take a couple of rolls until you come to seated, or you can use your hands to help guide the body up here. So your way through to seated, and then finding a comfortable seat. So that might be cross-legged. You can also take your feet out in front of you here. If you want to pop something underneath you, you could do so, just to raise the hips up a little bit here. And then finding some stretches through the neck. So hands on knees or perhaps down on the ground here. Left ear slowly drops down towards our left shoulder. We're finding that stretch through the right side of our neck this time, and holding here. Super slowly, we're going to roll chin down to center and hold. And then over to the other side, holding again for a couple of breaths. Let's roll chin back down to chest. And then as we bring the head up this time, taking a few rolls through the shoulders, any way you like. So that could be together or one at a time. Maybe your elbows start to get involved. Maybe there's some fluidity through the spine here. We're going to take that fluidity into our seated cat-cow. So hands come onto the knees here, starting by coming into seated cow pose. So we draw our chest forwards through the knees here, and then a gentle look up with the chin. And then slowly rocking our chest back, we're going to push the shoulders out behind us and then drop the chin down, looking towards our ankles, so our seated cat. And then moving through those 2 points again in your own time. You might take another 3 or 4 of your seated cat-cows. We're going to add in some twists in a moment. So from seated cat-cows, coming back upright, hands stay on the knees here. We're going to take our torso, we're going to lean over to the right, round to center, and then to left and back behind. So we're changing that motion around a little bit. You might take a couple of circles in one direction and then pausing and going back in the other direction. Coming back to center one more time. We're going to find our seated twists here. So hands stay roughly where they are. We're going to take left hand over to meet the right hand, and then right hand comes behind. Seeing if we can lift the chest up a little bit here. So rather than kind of slouching in, there's a gentle lift of the torso and then twist. You might look over the shoulder here. Maybe there's a breath down into the belly. And then super slowly coming back through center, both hands land on the knee for a pause before we come to the other side. And then finding our twist on the other side. So right hand lands on the left, and then left hand lands behind. That lift in chest, and then that twist over. Holding here, seeing if we can find length through the spine. Twist through the torso. Big breath in again. And then slowly coming back round to center, lifting both hands up to the sky. Big reach up here. If it feels okay to do so, you're welcome to look up. And then we're going to float both hands down to the ground in front of you. You can stay up on fingertips here, or we can place our palms down and then slowly kind of fold the chest down here. Perhaps not coming in all the way. So if you're used to coming down really low, staying a little bit lifted here, and then finding those sways again, side to side. And if stillness is what you prefer here, then taking that option. I'm going to keep those sways going. I'm just going to move around so you can see where we're going. So from here, lifting the chest back up, and we're going to come over onto our hands and knees. You can roll over the knees. You can take everything to the side here. Knees roughly underneath the hips. Hands roughly underneath the shoulders. I'm going to take a few of our child's pose to tabletop rolls, or rolling kind of child's pose, I guess. So from our tabletop, sinking the hips back into our child's pose. It's up to you whether you have your knees wide or keep them underneath your hips. Dropping the chest down here. And then from our child's pose, we're going to look forwards and then slowly rise up, dropping the belly into our cow pose as we go. And then that arch through the back, looking between the knees as we sink back to our child's pose. And then keeping that motion going. So that look forward as we draw the chest through to cow pose. Looking between our knees as we arch the back. And then sink back into child's pose. Taking as many more of these as you like. And then coming back through to our tabletop here. A little wriggle of those hips side to side. Awesome. From here, we're going to take our left leg along the mat, keeping our toes tucked under for a moment. You might take a few breaths here. You're welcome to take a little rock back and forwards. Again, that big breath in and out. And then lifting our leg up here, roughly parallel to the floor. Option is there to take our opposite hand and reach forwards as well. Holding here. And then slowly lowering our right hand down, we're going to take our left foot all the way up between the hands. You can shuffle as much as you need to get there. If you want to pad your knee here, you can fold over your mat, or you can pop a blanket under the knees. And then using your hands to support to come up. I'm going to find a little bit of a flow here. So from here, having a little wriggle into the hips first. See how they feel. Maybe you sink forward into hips and then lean back. Having a bit of intuitive movement again. And then when you found your kind of sweet spot of where your lunge feels good, we're going to reach arms up to the sky. From here, we're going to lean the torso forwards and then sweep our hands back. So hands are reaching towards the back of the mat, holding here, and then sweeping back up to the sky as we draw our torso up. And then we're going to keep this movement going here. That sweep down, hands behind, and then sweeping back up. Seeking your own rhythm here, so you can move quicker or slower than me. Taking a couple more. And then next time your hands are high, let's draw them both down towards our chest, so palms at the heart here. You're going to take a twist over to the left. You can stay up if you want to, like I am, or you're welcome to drop your elbow down onto the knee here. And then again, taking a few breaths. Coming back to center. And then releasing both hands down here. We're going to firmly press our right hand into the mat as we step our left foot to the back of the right side of our mat. And then left hand sweeps up to the sky. So our supported side plank. Option here to float the back foot. Big breath in again. Exhale to slowly draw everything down to our tabletop. We're going to roll all the way down to the earth here. So reaching hands a little bit forwards here as we roll our shoulders over the hands and then dropping down to the ground. Perhaps taking our hands wide today, so off of the mat. Elbows face up to the sky. We're going to take a few rolling cobras here. So when you're ready, slowly lifting the chest up as much as feels comfortable. You might look forwards and then slowly roll back down. And then taking a few more in your own time. We're going to add in a little look over the shoulder here. So next time you come up, looking over left shoulder, rolling back down, and then as you come up next time, looking over right shoulder, and then keeping that going a few more times. And then meeting back down on the mat, hands come back underneath our shoulders, big push all the way back to our child's pose, so hips back to heels as we drop the chest down. Maybe you're on forearms, maybe your chest and forehead drop down here. And then taking around 5 breaths in stillness. If anyone wants to grab water, you might do that here. And then slowly rising back up to meet in our tabletop. We're going to find that on the other side. So maybe having a little wriggle around with the hips. We're going to come back to that extension of the leg out behind us. So right leg this time extends, long toes tucked under for a moment as we find that length through the back of the leg. And it might feel a little bit different on this side. Maybe you find stillness or you'll rock. And then right leg lifts. That option is there to reach our left hand forwards as well, holding here. And then slowly taking left hand back down, drawing our right foot up to the top of the mat. Big breath in to slowly rise up here. Have that little wriggle around. See how this feels. Pad your knee if you want to. And then when you're ready, we're going to reach hands up to the sky and come back to that flow we found here. So from here, we lean torso forwards and then release hands behind. And then that big sweep back up to the sky. Let's keep that going again. So finding your own rhythm. Next time your hands are high, we're going to pause and then bring our hands back to the heart, twisting this time over to the right. So you can keep your torso high, or you can bring your elbow down onto the knee here. I'm going to stay high. So choosing what you would like. And then coming back around to center. We're going to reach up to the sky and then take both hands down to the mat, framing our foot again, grounding down through our left hand here as we step our right foot to the back of the mat. And then right hand lifts up to our supported side plank. That option is there again if you wanted to float the back foot. And then coming down to your tabletop. Having a little wriggle around, taking our hands back forwards, that roll of shoulders forwards, and then slowly lowering down to the mat. This time keeping our hands underneath or just behind our shoulders. Elbows squeeze tightly into the ribs. You're going to find our rolling cobras this time. So when you're ready, there's a slight squeeze of shoulder blades behind you here, and then that lift up with the chest. Looking forwards, rolling back down. Finding that a couple more times, and you're welcome to come up higher or stay low. And then from here, that big push back to our child's pose again, dropping the chest and forehead down as much as you like. Taking those 5 moments here in stillness. And then lifting back to our tabletop. We're going to come round onto our seat here. So taking the legs around to one side. We're going to take our legs wide. If you don't like legs wide, you can bring them together or find the soles of your feet here. And again, you might pop something underneath the hips for that little bit of lift. You're going to find a couple of gentle side leans and then a forward bend here. So left hand comes onto our left leg, right hand reaches up and over towards the left leg. Big breath in, and then exhale to come over to the other side. And we're going to keep this movement going. Finding those stretches through the side of the body here. Find one more on each side. And then hands both come up to the sky, big breath in, moving forwards with the chest here, hands slowly lower down, there's no need to come down far, taking a couple of breaths here. Again, if you want stillness, you might stay here in stillness, or you can take a little sway with the torso. And then coming back up to seated. Let's use our hands to draw the knees up. Feet come to the earth, hands come and land behind you. And then taking sways with those knees side to side again. Keeping this action going, side to side movements here. You're going to come slowly back down to the ground. So taking our feet nice and firmly on the earth as we lift up, we're going to find a little bit more of a squeeze before we come down to the earth. So toes come towards each other, heels towards each other, knees towards each other. So it's like we're zipping up the inside of the legs here. Arms reach wide, and then big hug with the knees. Underneath or over the top here, your choice. Taking hold of hands, forearms or elbows, and that little drop down of the chin towards the chest. Maybe giving yourself a big squeeze here. And then slowly rising up. I'm going to shuffle our feet apart a little bit here. Hands come onto our shins and then rolling all the way down to the ground again. So slowly down until we land back on our mats, taking a moment to arrive back here. So that moment to arrive back on our mats. And then when you're ready, that squeeze of knees into our chest, finding that intuitive movement again, so that roll around however you like here. And then finding our twists. So easy circline twist here. Palms might come out wide. You're welcome to take the arms overhead or on the body here. And then slowly dropping the knees over to one side. A little shuffle until you find a point that feels good in your body. And then taking a few slower breaths again. If you wanted to, you're welcome to close the eyes down as we start to slow towards our rest. And then uncurling yourself back to center and all the way over to the other side. So knees drop over, that little shuffle around until you find a spot that feels good for you. And then taking a couple of breaths again. We're going to meet back through center, so your way back to center, starting to take any last movements that you would like to here. Maybe there's a happy baby or another little wriggle around. Whenever you feel ready to come to rest, we're going to set ourselves up for our final resting pose here. So that might be your legs stretched out long, palms to the sky. If you started in constructive rest and you wanted to go back there, you might do so. So knees up to the sky, feet wide, and then knocking the knees in together to support each other in the middle, or anything else that feels comfortable to you. So taking your time to come through to whatever that is. You might close down the eyes or focus on something out in front of you. Maybe there's those deeper, more conscious breaths in and out as we start to slow everything down to rest. Maybe on each inhale, you invite the word rest into your body. And on each exhale, you let it sink down through your body to the ground. Giving yourself permission to rest, to be still, and to soften everything down. And starting to bring movement back to the body, so those wriggles of fingers and toes. You might notice all of the sounds around you as you make these movements. If you are in constructive rest, maybe your knees start to sway again, or we can take movement through the wrists and ankles. Starting to bring ourselves back into the space. Maybe you want to take a full body stretch here. Whatever that looks like for you. And then eventually finding our way through to seated to close practice. If you want to stay down low, then feel free to do so. Or taking that little roll up to seated, you could roll to one side and then guide your body up with the hands. Finding a comfortable seat again here. Letting the hands land on your body wherever you like. Let's take a few moments in stillness here. So grounding down through your seat, sitting up tall through your center, all the way to the crown of the head here. We'll take a moment to send ourselves gratitude for practicing. Expand my gratitude for joining me today. We might take a few deeper breaths together, so that big inhale filling up the lungs. Maybe that sigh on the exhale. And then finding a few more in your own time. Whenever you feel ready to close practice today, bringing your hands up together at heart in Anjali Mudra, and then that bow to self and to each other here. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you very soon.